Now, some other news for you. And the Eurozone's debt crisis is back in the spotlight tonight. Investors are stepping up pressure on European governments this Monday. It pushed up Spain's cost of borrowing above 6%. There it is. The yield on Italian debt, though, topping 5.6%. And investors were willing to pay Switzerland, that is outside the euro area, for the perceived safety of holding its government debt. Well, we are joined now by Professor Antonio Moreno, who is Associate Dean of the School of Economics at the University of Navarra. Hello to you. It seems like we've heard a lot of this before, doesn't it? The idea that borrowing costs are rising, that confidence is falling. Is this simply a product of a bad, damaged banking system?
Yeah, I would say that the government is tackling the main problems of the Spanish economy, which are labor market, productivity, education, and so on, and also the banking system. These reforms have impact in the long run, but especially in the short run, you really need to fix our banking system.
Now, there are renewed calls, though, again, for private sector involvement, private sector investment, but you might say it's hardly surprising that private firms are so reluctant to get involved, given the state of the economy and the state of the government there.
That's right. I think it's key that there is private sector involvement in Spanish banks. At the moment, they're reluctant because their assets of Spanish banks are taking a hit due to real estate losses and also sovereign debt losses. And if you look at the liabilities, is the ECB the one that is lending Spanish banks? So I think that it's at this juncture, it's really important that private sector gets into the liabilities of commercial banks. And that can be done if the government puts incentives into place. And I think that should be top of the agenda of the Spanish government right now. Give incentives in terms of collateral guarantees, tax incentives for private companies and private banks, foreign banks, to get into Spanish banks, because they are going to be profitable in 1 or 2 years down the road. That's for sure. Probably this year, next year, they're going to take a hit in terms of losses. But in the long term, it will pay for them to get into Spanish banks.
Now, lots of proposals there about what the government could do. The question is, though, can they afford it?
Oh, certainly. I think that if you look at there's a lot of opportunities for private investors right now, and Spain may not be, the first target of them. But, with the help of incentives and of the government, I think that they could indeed be profitable. But I think they need to be persuaded at this moment. And I think they need this long-term vision, because I think that could start. I think it's clear that in Spain, when the banking system goes well, then there's growth, and then there will be no more problems with balancing the budget. But we need our banking system to be fixed in this transition period, after all these mergers. And I think private investors could be the key, and they could themselves get a lot of profits down the road if they get into our banking system.
Okay, Antonio Moreno at the University of Navarra. Interesting to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much for your time.